If you do this, you'll never control diabetes. You'll never achieve good blood sugar level control. In this video, I have highlighted 7 common mistakes that often hinder or even prevent good diabetes management. In the last 30 days, I observed the main errors with my diabetic patients and recorded their frequency. So that way I am able to understand what you're doing wrong and can make corrections. Let's begin then. There are 7 mistakes, and the first mistake is thinking sugar is the sole culprit. The real culprits are simple carbohydrates, such as cakes, pasta, breads, or added sugars. I hear this all the time. Oh, I don't know why I'm not improving my diabetes because I don't eat sugar anymore. If it were that easy, it would be a simple fix. Just remove sugar and everyone would improve. But in reality, there are many other things you should be doing. But of course, I'm not saying it's a mistake for you to cut out sugar. No, the mistake is to think that sugar is the only enemy. That's the mistake. Watch your words. The second mistake isn't having snacks. But what's it got to do with not having snacks, like an apple, for instance? Because most of the time, you're out and about. If you don't have a snack, you're going to have to eat whatever food is available. And a lot of times, in fact, most times, it's going to be a pastry, it's going to be greasy food, it's going to be something that comes in a package, it's going to be a snack, for example, and that's bad for people with diabetes. You should follow a healthy diet. If you don't have a snack, on top of it making it hard for you to have a healthy diet, if you go hours without eating, it also increases your risk of getting hypoglycemia. Depending on the medication you use, or if you use insulin or some medication that can cause hypoglycemia, it's a big mistake to often skip a snack. Just this fact alone greatly improves glycemic control. Why? Because a patient experiencing hypoglycemia, it makes it very hard to adjust the treatment according to the glycated hemoglobin values and the values of the capillary glucose test, that test that you do with the glucometer, the device that measures glucose. If the doctor sees multiple hypoglycemias, it makes it very hard. And sometimes, just with a snack, just with this tip, you can significantly improve, as well as avoid eating street food, a meal with lots of lard, or a meal that's ultra-processed, for example, with many additives. Mistake number 3, and almost everyone thought this, is to think that sweetener is also an enemy. And here I'm talking about natural sweeteners like stevia, xylitol, because there are some videos talking about it on the internet. I also receive these videos. You send me these videos, I end up looking at them, and there are some absurdities being said that the sweet taste of sweeteners would increase your blood sugar. Then there could be an insulin spike, getting everything out of balance. Or that stevia, for example, which is a very good sweetener, a natural sweetener, would interact with some medications. That's a big lie, you know? It's better for you to use a natural sweetener than sugar. For example, you don't have to be afraid of that. There's also no relationship between natural sweeteners and any kind of cancer, for example. So you don't have to be afraid of that either. You can rest assured that if you can't give up sugar, it's okay to use a natural sweetener, okay? Don't be fooled. When I say that to my patients, they're shocked. What do you mean? But I thought sweeteners were bad, that they messed with my gut and so on. There are some artificial sweeteners. There are some studies that are controversial. If you want a video solely about this, I can delve into that topic, otherwise it will become too long here. I will only discuss artificial sweeteners, but I can tell you that natural sweeteners are healthy. It's better for you to consume a natural sweetener than to consume sugar, or else feel like taking it out on the next meal, okay? And mistake number 4, this mistake here also that, like the sweeteners almost every diabetic makes, which is not taking care of their environment. If I go to your refrigerator, if I open the refrigerator, there would be some sweets, there would be some food with added sugar, there would be some food packaged with a lot of preservatives, some ultra-processed food, and then I'd probably find some of these foods that I mentioned. If you're diabetic, you have to take care of your personal environment, the environment you can control. If you don't have sweets, for example, it will significantly improve your glycemic control. Why? Often you're there at night and you can't go out to buy something because sometimes the supermarket is closed, or Anyway, there's the whole issue of logistics of you having to go out to buy, so you will eat whatever you have at home. If you have a cake there, if you have an ultra-processed food, for example, what are you going to do? The odds of you eating it and breaking your diet, increasing your blood sugar levels significantly, is much higher than if you take care of yourself beforehand. And don't keep these foods, don't keep cakes, don't keep those sweets in your house. Do you have sugar in your house? Do you have a kilogram of sugar in your house? Come on, you need to rethink this, because it's been a few years since I removed sugar and these kinds of foods from my house. Of course, I'm not telling you to be extreme. For example, you go to a party and a family member gives you a sweet, you're not going to throw the sweet away. I'm not saying that. I'm referring to the food in your fridge at home, the food you have at home. Your pantry shouldn't be stuffed with sweets and also with substances that aren't healthy, because the chance of you slipping up is very high. But of course, if you receive a gift, then you can make an exception after your blood sugar levels are good. I don't say anything I don't do, and sometimes I make an exception. I really like ambrosia. Then last weekend my grandmother gave me an ambrosia. I ended up eating it, but that's not my routine. If you look now, you won't find any cake or unprocessed food in my kitchen, because I follow what I teach on this channel. But remember this, you don't need to be extreme. You shouldn't be sad. Oh no, I'm so depressed. I will never be able to eat anything I like. Well, it's not like that, okay? And mistake number 5 is not exercising. Physical activity, especially resistance exercise, like gym and exercise you do against weights, for instance, or swimming. It's very important to increase your muscle mass, and I see that many diabetics are sedentary, and it greatly interferes with their control because muscle is a great ally. It can take the sugar in the blood and use it as a source of energy. So you need to exercise. What kind of exercise do you do? I've talked here about resistance exercise, but you can do whatever exercise you enjoy most. That's fine. That's the best for diabetes, resistance exercise. But if you like walking, if you like running, if you like jumping rope, if you like any exercise, do some kind of exercise. Do what you can. Some people say they have knee problems. Do an exercise that adapts, so perhaps the elliptical or some exercise even while seated, but do something because it will help you. But if I don't do such intense exercise, will it help me? Yes, we already know that the best for diabetes is a resistance exercise, as I said, at least 150 minutes a week, this divided into 3 or more days. But the exercise you can do, even there was a study that saw that people who walked a lot during the day at work, for example, these people had a sugar level. It's lower in the blood than in those who don't do it, even at work if you move around. Basic measures. For example, if you work in a building, instead of taking the elevator, you take the stairs. But I work on the 16th floor, so I do this. You take the stairs up to the 4th, and from the 4th to the 16th, then you take the elevator. I used to do that because otherwise I'd arrive very sweaty. I always enjoyed taking the stairs, climbing the stairs. I think it's a decent exercise, but I worked in a relatively large building. So I'd take the elevator up to a certain floor and then take the stairs. Or the other way around, I'd take the stairs first and then take the elevator from there. This helps a lot and also eliminates any excuses, because a lot of people say, but I work in a rather large building. I live, or even if you live, here's also a tip. I live in a building with many floors. I can't climb all the way. So climb 1 flight, I said 4th floor. That's what I used to do. I would go up 4 floors and then take the elevator. You could go up, get the elevator on the 2nd floor. This will already help you. There is scientific proof that it will significantly help you. And error number 6, this one too, almost all diabetics commit, is to overdo it with healthy foods. I know it weighs less on your conscience, but you must be very careful with the quantity of some foods that are said to be healthy, such as olive oil, nuts, avocado, because these foods are very high in calories. If you consume an excess of calories, it will worsen this whole process of insulin resistance. It's the surplus of calories, what you don't burn off, will be stored as fat. A tissue that we already know hinders the action of insulin. And error number 7 is about fruits. Many diabetics think they can't eat fruit, but I assure you here, not only can you, but you should eat fruit. Fructose it's going to harm your control or your liver, which is harmed by the excess of fructose, okay? You should choose fruits with a lesser amount of sugar and also with a lower glycemic index. So what is the glycemic index? How much that carbohydrate will raise your blood sugar, so the lower the better. But what are the best fruits for diabetics and which are the worst? I've already made a video just about this where I classified the fruits, the best and the worst. If you are diabetic, it is very important that you know and watch this video. I'm sure it will be useful for you. Just click here, you'll be directed to it. I also give a score from 0 to 10. If it's 10, I'll make more videos like this one. Bye. See you in the next video. Make sure to watch it here. Thanks.